everybody. You are joining in. If you're joining us for the first time on this week's episode, thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, this is Heroines of the Cherry Blossom. You are joined right here at twitch.tv/CBHeroines. I'm one of the head maids in charge here, Pizza Maid, and along with me, I also have my co-host this way, Sushi Geisha.
Hey guys, how are you? Hi Pizza, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Sushi?
I'm good, thank you.
It is an exciting day. We're actually breaking from the mold and from the system that we've implemented on episode 4. Episode 4, I believe, for this week, December 18th, 2015. Tonight is a plum wine pajama party.
Woo!
I am not kidding when I told you homegirl be wearing pajamas. We actually wanted to do something a little different from what we've been doing these past few weeks, just to give a little bit of variety, a little bit of flavor. But we are so unbelievably excited because tonight we're actually going to sit down, grab a comfy glass of whatever your best wine is. I actually have here some Carnival, which is a cotton candy wine. I believe Sushi has some sake over there in her corner. And we are actually going to finally be able to sit down and discuss the nitty-gritty, included with spoilers, for a popular otome game that we've been discussing for quite a while, Amnesia Memories. And this has been long overdue because we've always wanted to talk about it on the podcast and never got the opportunity to because we didn't want to spoil anything. So we do, again, want to just let everybody know this is going to be a show with spoilers. If you are currently playing the game or if there's a portion of the game that you have not reached yet and you don't want to be spoiled, fear not. We'll go through the routes in order as they are made accessible in the game. So if you reach up to a part that you have not completed yet, you can turn off the stream at that point and then not miss anything for it. So that's going to be how we're going to run this tonight. And of course, before we even start that, I think we do need to discuss what we've been playing this week. And it's been a busy week for the two of us, but I'm curious, what have you been playing this week, Sushi?
Well, I finally started Code Realize, and I love it. It's beautiful, it's fun, it's upbeat, the characters are great, music is good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really, really blown away by it. I haven't even finished a route yet, so, um, but I already think I'm leaning towards Van Helsing.
Oh,
Um,
you be prepared. Be prepared. It's going to be good.
I just, I'm really looking forward to that route. So, yeah, so I've been doing that. I finally got back into Final Fantasy 14 this week. I got to level 32. I am a dragoon now.
Yay!
Uh, Takashi is officially a badass who is a good boy. Um, and then my game came in that I imported, Clap. It
Oh,
came in.
man.
So I haven't played it. It's supposed to work on the PSTV or the PlayStation TV. If it does, I might consider streaming it, but I need to figure out like the controls and how all that stuff works. So, yeah, it's been a crazy week with holidays next week, wrapping up things at work and family and stuff. So that's been it for me. But what about you, Miss Pizza? What have you been up to?
This week has been a very, very busy week. We just wrapped up for the holiday break, so I have 2.5 weeks off to do whatever to my heart's content. And so I will be playing nothing but otome games. I'm so unbelievably excited.
That's
Um,
great.
I have also been playing Code Realize because now I get to kind of stay up a little later than usual past my bedtime. So I've been playing a little bit every night of the Van Helsing route. He's so
Hmm.
cute. I love him.
Oh,
Uh,
don't.
I won't spoil it. I will. I'm currently up to chapter 10 on Code Realize for Van Helsing, and I love the system that they have set in place for it. The way they kind of go through a little bit of a side story for each available bachelor before you dive into the actual storyline of the route that you chose. I think they did it really, really well. I agree. The music is amazing. The art is gorgeous. And the story really captivates you. At times, I kind of forgot that I was playing an Otome, but I enjoy it
Yeah,
very
I did
much.
too.
The storyline was written so well that I think that this is another Otome game that could not only track that of the female persuasion, but possibly even that of the male persuasion. Just how they're developing the story. I mean, I'm sure it's going to get to those romantic bits as you go deeper into the chapters. I think from chapter 9 to 12 is where that all happens. So I'm just in it for the CGs now. I already caught a
Right.
glimpse of one CG while running the route, and I was just like, oh my god, he's so beautiful. So I'm looking forward to it. But I think they did a really good job of really highlighting each character so well and making them all in their own right just absolutely lovable. So I'm excited about that. Unfortunately, no Final Fantasy 14 for me this week. It's been so unbelievably crazy. I haven't been able to log in. So I've actually been playing a lot of Line Play, the mobile app game.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally put together a little K-pop cafe in Line Play as my house. I finally got my maid suit for my avatar. So anybody who wants to come visit in
I
Line
saw that.
Play, thanks. I was pretty excited about it. I have Jackson from GOT7 also. Like, I have a little corner dedicated to him in the cafe by my bed. I was like, yeah.
Right.
I was all about it. So it's been a bit of a slow game week for me, but definitely tons have been going on. So I'm pretty excited. So that is that. Yeah. But I'm finally ready to grab my glass of bubbly and discuss what I've been wanting to discuss with you for God knows how long. Because that was honestly the other thing I've been playing mostly this week was Amnesia Memories to finish up these routes.
Right.
I finished up.
Yeah.
I finished up all the routes for Icky, Shin, and Kent. Toma scared me too much, and I didn't even get a chance to touch Ukyo. I wasn't able to unlock him. Unfortunately, time was not on my side. But this is
Right.
going to be an exciting episode. Again, guys, this is going to have some spoilers. We're going to give you our first thoughts, our impressions. We'll probably discuss what we liked and what we didn't like about it. So if you are at any point, feel like you don't want to be spoiled, completely understandable. But I do believe we should probably start first with Shin. He is the
Yes.
first available route in the game for us as Heart.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when we started this podcast, you had said to me, didn't you find it funny the order in which they're presented? I never thought of the order with consideration of the game because so many other Tomy games I've played, it didn't really matter what the order was. This one
Mm-hmm.
actually suited a purpose. Shin was great in how it gave you a general base of the storyline. And I love that they did that. I thought that was actually very, very smart. And I didn't think
Yeah.
it would apply. But I made the fatal mistake of starting with Spade first. And I was like, shit, I should have started with Heart first. Now I'm completely confused. But
I thought what drew my attention to it was when I finally got to Toma. And um, so I started with Shin. I did Icky. I did Toma. No, I did Shin, Icky, Kent. Yeah, I guess I did it in order then.
mm-hmm.
Wow, who knew? Um, so so their stories tie in together. Like Shin and Toma have a connection, Icky and Kent have a connection, and Icky and Kent come right after the other. And so it threw me off why Toma would be so far from Shin's route.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what got me thinking. Um, but I think this order for me um kind of regrouped me in the very middle of the game. Like a lot of people, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see I say Kent was my calm in this, and he was. But I Shin so I liked that I could embarrass Shin. Like I really thought that was cute that I can make him blush and but I just didn't he was not one of my more favorite routes. I don't know if it was because he kept calling me Baka the whole time, or if it's because he's younger than me and I know I can't deal with younger men. But it seemed like, and I was thinking about this today on the way home, from what I can remember, all of the memories that you remember of him were bad memories. Like they were of him like just putting you down. You know what I mean?
Well, and I
And
agree with that, but I think the relationship that you hold with Shin was far deeper than the other routes presented throughout the entire game. And I think the only rival to that was Toma. I felt like
mhm.
I actually felt comfortable with that because of the fact that you knew that they had a very, very deep childhood history together. And of course, that wasn't revealed until the end of the route. But I get where your sentiments were with that at first, but I actually, that made sense to me. It just made sense to me that the memories came that way.
Oh yeah. I mean, I just I was trying to sit there while I was stuck in traffic to figure out why I didn't really like Shin that much. And I couldn't really come up with a reason. I thought he was rude, but I usually go after the rude ones. So, um, I his route just didn't really I didn't have any emotion from it. Like I didn't hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't like swooning over it. I was just like, okay, let's move on. Like I just wasn't that caught up in it for me.
Maybe also, again, it's already been established that his route really did set the tone and set the environment, so to speak, for the game. I think also the fact that he was younger was, and that was my explanation as to why he was as rude as he was and as coarse and as brash as he was. So it gave me it gave me a sense of, okay, well, this is what it would be like dating a younger person. I have dated men that were younger than me, so I was like, this isn't too far off. Like, they don't know when to stop that kind of dumb, flirtatious, like, chase. And they don't know when to
Yeah.
get rid of the tough guy persona, which I felt that Shin was trying to hold up so much because of the fact that he was the younger of the two between him and Toma. So
Hmm.
I think that was probably one of the key reasons why I wasn't drawn to the storyline as much as I would have liked. I don't think, as the heroine, I don't think I would have went for Shin because I would have sensed a lot of immaturity in him. Although they really made it out to sound like the heroine was just as immature too, which really threw me
Yeah, that's
off.
true.
I
That's
was
true.
like, is he the immature one or am I the immature one? I'm not entirely sure, but he has a lot of kissing CGs, and they're not bad kissing CGs either. I
No.
was okay with that. I was like, I can get behind that. So,
But yeah, Mocha in chat, she says, I feel like starting Shin's route helps out a lot due to the whole suspicion parameter. It helps players get adjusted to the whole affection, trust, suspicion thing because you normally don't see this kind of stuff in standard Otome games, and that's absolutely correct.
oh yeah.
Um, I mean, you nailed it right on the head. Like just like Pizza was saying, it really kind of eases you into amnesia, if you can say it that way. I mean, you can still die, but it kind of it preps you for the t the tougher ones, I guess.
It's
Along the
unfortunate,
way.
but it's unfortunate that they don't present it that way on the first, like the first initial playthrough of the game. I wish that there was a little bit of a directive, whether it would have been Orion hinting like, "Oh, if you're not sure which way to go, why don't you start with whatever your heart desires, or try to hint, like make a subtle hint to try the heart route first." I made the fatal mistake of starting with Spade, and because of that, I don't think it took away from the complete game experience for me, but it messed
Hmm.
up what my perception of the game was at first, at first run through, and I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing or how I was supposed to go and engage. So I feel like if there is any slight criticism to be made to the game, I wish there was a way that it was better hinted that you should start with the heart route first, because it just naturally, I guess it does make sense to go for what's on top, but I just literally was on a whim and just went, oh, click. And you can do that in so many
Yeah.
standard Atome games. And being that this is so different, I was a little upset that I was like, damn it, I shouldn't have done Spade first. So I felt a
Do you
little
think
slighted.
do you think because he was the box art guy, that was another, gentle push in that direction?
Honestly,
Like to start with his route? I mean, like let's say you actually like looked up the game a little bit and found out who was the guy on the box because you wouldn't know unless you actually looked it up, but
I've honestly haven't even purchased the game physically. I've purchased it on all
okay,
digital
that's a good
ends.
point.
Yeah, I mean, I purchased it all on digital ends. I purchased it on the PS Vita, and it shows all four of them, and same for the mobile app. So I didn't. I guess I didn't have that hint at first. I wish.
Hmm.
I feel like that's where I just missed out on. Was just the first decision that I made. And I was like, oh, crap! I really kind of fucked that
I
up.
I did think his good and normal endings were very sweet. Um, the good ending, he, you know, they they're in love and I think they're going to the zoo together and he agrees to hold her hand even though it makes him blush and he's embarrassed. It's very sweet. And then the normal route, um, he actually breaks up with you and says, I think if I remember correctly, that he wants to start over from scratch. And I was like, wow, I really respect that. I really like you as a person. You know what I mean? Like I really enjoyed I guess I liked his normal route better, but I think they just they were feel good. Like I felt good with both the outcomes in good and normal for me.
Yeah, I if I can get a storyline with a good ending of, maybe a childhood romance blooming into something more, I kind of tugs at my heart feels maybe just as a matter of preference. I like
Mhm.
cute, long time friends developing and becoming lovers. So I thought the way that the good route had done it for Shin made me very, very happy, and I was like, awesome. I really, really like this one. The normal ending where he did the breakup, I was like, okay, I get what you're doing. I see, the steps that you're wanting to take. I think personally for myself, the good ending was the go to for me. But I do agree. I definitely
Mhm.
can respect the way he handled everything in the normal ending too. So I thought that was done. I thought that was done right. So, and I actually didn't
Do
get
you
a
have
bad ending.
really?
I didn't get a
That's
bad
good.
ending for him on that one. I tried. I didn't. Because I was just curious to see what it was, but I'm assuming it has something to do with a cliff of some sort. So, or a car.
Right?
I don't know.
A cliff. A cliff.
Has to do with a
Do you
cliff or a
have a
car.
favorite? Do you have a favorite CG that you can remember?
Honestly, the favorite CG that I can remember was when she was talking with him as little kids, and I forget if it was sepia tone or black and white, but it's when they're little kids, and at
Yeah.
first it's blurred out to just showing, I think, him, or it's just showing her, and you don't know who she's putting the flower ring on, and then the bigger
Hmm.
CG just shows the two of them together. I was like, okay, that's super cute. I'd frame that if I
Yeah.
could. I really like that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Um, I'm sitting here looking to see which one. Um, I think my favorite one is probably when he's like prepping her for like work and she has to keep saying master and he's like blushing and he just like looks away and he blushes and he looks away. Like those are just so like adorable. I loved those are it's a set of three I think and those are like my top favorite ones.
I think what was it? Did he say that she was cruel, or if she keeps up doing what she's doing, he's gonna do something horrible, which of course he can't
He's
hold
no
himself back.
I think he said, "Can I just attack you now?" or something like that. And but he at one point he did say that this is cool, I think. But and then Toma comes over and you practice with both of them and they both like instantly are like like they just both blush and they're like, "Oh, this is uncomfortable." And that was a cute part for me too. His route didn't, like I said, I guess I enjoyed it. I didn't hate it or anything. Um, but it just didn't do much for me. So,
Did you feel in any way though that Shin's route was, now bearing the obvious exception of the fact that you have no amnesia, it felt like a standard Otome route to me. Like maybe that's why I was so underwhelmed with it. It was just like, okay, this is a standard Otome, path. This is a standard Otome ending. It's done. Like even from the time that they went to the resort together and they were trying to figure out the plans as to how to kind of coerce and find out who did what, or who is the one that caused her to fall and
Mm-hmm.
get her amnesia in the first place. Like that just felt like that seemed something that whether I've seen it in an Atome or not, it was something that I was so familiar with, and I was like, okay, so it just felt very. I don't want to say generic because I don't think that this game could ever be called generic in any way, shape, or form. But it felt like something that I was familiar with. It wasn't a foreign concept to me.
Um, let's see. For me, and I have to say, I saw the anime before I played the game. So, I kind of, and I finished it. So I kind of knew what was going on. I have to say that it did feel different to me. Um, I don't know, maybe because I knew what the story was going to turn into.
Mm-hmm.
That I was like, well, I didn't trust anybody. Like I was like, okay, like I've seen the ending. Like I know all of you, like I could die at any moment here. Like this is like terrifying. And I have never had that in any Atome game where you just die. Like
Mm-hmm.
you just pick the wrong choice and you fall off a cliff or someone pushes you in front of a train and you're dead. So but I didn't get as much threat in his route. So I can see why you say that, it did feel a little bit normal. Because I didn't pick up on those threats till maybe Icky's route, which is next.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but because it seemed like, okay, someone pushed you, that is a threat, but you didn't really think you would die from it, you know? And then you play a little bit of the game and you play more and more and you're like, well, shit, I can die in this game. Like that's it's terrifying. Um, let's see, Mocha says in chat, I'm still kind of adjusting to the heroine since she's nothing like a standard Otome heroine. There's no narration, everything is dialogue, and the choices you pick are some of the rare times that she talks until she starts regaining her memories. Granted, she has amnesia, so it makes sense, but it definitely takes some adjusting. Um, she is, I do have to say, when I play her, in certain routes, I felt very weak on her. And I didn't really like that at times.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that they played into what was happening, I guess, for the route, if that makes sense.
I felt with regards to the heroine and her stance and position, and mind you, this is coming from somebody who didn't play the routes in order. I actually played them in different orders and different paths. I felt that there was very rarely a remaining constant of the heroine in each of the stories. Um, I felt
Yeah.
that from the end of certain routes, that she was either very frail, very shy, very reserved, to very immature, very just loud, almost obnoxious in some ways. Then I felt her being kind, considerate, and caring in some. And then I also found her being, a tough cookie and being able to hold her ground.
Hmm.
This is the game where I feel that the person who has the most control of the heroine is the character, is you as the player. And I felt that it's in the directions of what you chose. This wasn't a game where the story framed the heroine. I feel, as in some cases, this is the first game where the heroine somewhat framed the story, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. Because I couldn't see those remaining constants at all. And that's another reason I found myself very unsure in certain parts too, because I was like, I know how I was with Shin, but is this the way that I should be with Toma, or how does this
Right.
work? Like I can't find the temperature. I can't find what's balanced on that, and that made me feel a little shaky. I felt like I was on some uneven footing, but you try to go through it as the best, to the best of your ability. Just trying to uncover the story, trying to figure out what's going on, and learn to either develop trust or learn to gain resistance. It's one or the other. So, and you should play through the bad ending because there's one that involves Toma, and my jaw literally dropped. I will check that out. I will definitely check that out.
Yeah.
I only, for some reason, I managed to just get good and normal, so I will definitely try one of the bad endings. Toma, in and of itself, scares the shit out of me, but we'll keep this going in order. Toma's just left a foul, bitter taste in my mouth, or Toma. So, next we're going to try, though, we're going to talk about Icky, who is the Playboy debonair, also reminiscent of the Spade route. I couldn't take this route seriously. The entire time that I was playing this route, my first thought was, after you get into the story a little bit, I'm like, he's a vampire. He's a vampire. He's a vampire. Everything that my boyfriend has ever told me about playing Atomes, he's a vampire. This dude is straight up a vampire. There's no other explanation. And then I find out the actual reasoning, and I was like, oh, close enough. I'll take it. Wasn't a vampire, but it's kind of like that. You know, either or. But,
Yeah, so...
Yeah, go ahead. You go first.
Yeah. Well, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I totally want to hear your input on it.
Well, so before... Okay, so I finished Shin's route, and I was on Twitter late at night, and I was like, I can't wait to get to Icky's route. And someone who's a huge Atome player, I can't remember who, this was forever ago, was like, that route drove me crazy. Like, they were like, I don't like Icky. I just don't like him. And I was like, oh my God, how could you not like him? Look at him. He looks great. And, he seems sweet. So when I played that route, I was like yelling at my Vita. Like, I was very upset.
Understandable.
Like,
it's justified too. It was completely justified.
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? It drove me nuts.
It made me feel bad because I know that there are both men and women in this world who would go through insufferable acts for people like Icky. The reality is that this storyline existed because there are people that actually do this and get away with it. It left such a horrible taste in my mouth. And I chose him first because I said to myself, well, a spade's a spade. Why not try it first? And I just remember the entire time going, no, why would anybody go through this? Why would they let themselves go through it? And I'm like, trying to remember that it's an Atome game, but remembering that it's an Atome game where you have to romance the guy, while also there's me in real life trying to maintain some self-respect. I'm like, I wouldn't stoop to these levels for anybody. I don't care who you are. You could be Chris Hemsworth, and I still wouldn't do this shit for you. The first ending that I'd gotten for Icky on this route was when the girls pushed me off the cliff, and he comes to me in the hospital.
Right, I remember that.
He's like, I'll defend your honor. I'm like, where the fuck was that when I needed it? Like, a couple days ago at the fucking cliff. Like, I was ridiculously upset with this route, and everything about it made me just vile. Like, I didn't enjoy it at all. I couldn't get into any of the things.
Even his good route, where he's like, basically, I'll keep them in check. No, they're gone. What do you mean you'll keep them in check? You don't disperse them. Just get rid of it. Like, it was just killing me. And then in the normal route, I think this was the normal route, like, he broke up with me, but then at the end he was like, I'll still be waiting for you whenever you want to call me when you're ready. And I'm like, what? I'm ready. Like, you're the one that's not. And then, like, you call him and he's like, oh yeah, I want to see you too. And I'm like, I don't want to. What have you been doing? Who have you been hanging out with?
I had a brief moment where he put butterflies in my stomach when when he lost his partner on the trail going up the mountain, and I lost my partner because I think I ended up going left instead of right. And we wound up at the top of the cliff, and he's looking up the stars and he's telling me the story. That was an actually cute moment. And then afterwards, it
Yeah,
was
I
just
agree.
complete. It was complete shit. I thought that was actually probably one of the best CGs that I enjoyed in his route. Was that CG of them under the stars and kind of getting ready to come close to kiss. But the entire time I'm thinking about this, I'm there going to myself, okay, they're set up in Japan. You mean to tell me that LASIK surgery isn't going to fix this stupid eye problem of his? Like,
Well,
there's nothing like cataracts, contacts. I don't care what. The sunglasses aren't doing shit apparently. So why don't we try something else?
I really wanted Kent to just knock him out and like do tests on him because I'm like, this is so random in this game. Like I don't think there's anything else. Well, no, okay, I guess the story of hopping between the worlds is like, very kind of sci-fi-ish.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, no other character has any other special ability other than Icky with his eyes. And it makes sense for his character, but I would have thought like they all would have been their own like Otome superheroes at the same time. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? And they weren't. And yes, Mocha, the CG with is definitely food porn when he's making the what was it called?
Oh,
Um the maid parfait, is that what it was
it
called?
was something like that where he has his arms kind of around her, showing her how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That is a good CG too. I will agree.
And I agree with Corgi. There was a line like you just said when we were under the stars and he was talking and he talked about his pain and his suffering. I was like, okay, maybe I can deal with this, but I felt like it was too far into the randomness of his fan club. And then nothing else saved it at the end for me. Like I was still the only thing I liked about his good ending was the CG. I thought it was great. I thought he had a lot of good CGs. But I was like, this was long, and this was the part in the game where I finished these two routes, and I was like, I just don't know if I'm gonna have a guy in this game because none of the other ones really interested me that much at first glance. And so Icky was just like you know, my heart just sank because I was really counting on him to come through for me. And I just got pissed off the whole time. Like I just couldn't get past it.
Maybe I think if they could have changed anything about it, maybe they should have given that explanation a little earlier on in the game, so that there could have
Yeah.
been at least I think a more of a fighting chance for him to make that complete 180, so that he could just combat them with his fuck me eyes. I don't know what it was. I don't even know what the fuck it was called, but whatever it is that needs to be fixed, like they could have even made some type of resolution to the to whatever his problem was. But I felt that they just kind of drew it out so long and made you as a player endure so much, and then for the ending that it was, you're just like, that's it. that
Yeah.
that's that's how you want to end this. Okay, I'm not going to continue this
And they
route.
didn't even explain like I guess I wanted a reason why they didn't work on her. And I think in one of the routes it was like, well, it did at one point, but now it doesn't. And so it's like, well, is that because she has a little, sprite in her head now? Is that like what makes it not work anymore?
Mm-hmm.
But then in other routes it kind of came up that it didn't work in those routes too. So I really don't I wanted more clarification on that. You know what I mean?
His route, I felt.
And I
Mm-hmm.
go ahead.
No, no. I was gonna
Sorry.
say that. No, no, it's cool. I was just gonna say that I think of all the routes that were presented in the game, I felt like he was meant to represent a polar opposite from everyone else. Like there were so many extremes with him that you. Well, I mean, you saw extremes, of course, with Toma as well. But I felt that there were so many extremes with him that was trying to set him out from the pack, and I think that in their way of trying to make him somewhat of a special snowflake path, it really kind of just made
Mhm.
it worse and tarnished it for him. If that makes sense.
Yeah. And I will agree with Mocha and chat. Icky's problems could have been solved way easier if he had told all those girls no, even with the eye condition. I agree. Icky didn't put up much of a fight with him until one of the bad ends. And I agree fully. And I think that was because, to me, it came across because it hurt his reputation. Not because it hurt me, his supposed girlfriend, love of his life, but because it made him look bad. And that pissed me off.
And,
Like,
and even their
I just
explanation,
don't, it's
their explanation on it was horrible.
like, yeah. And like for me, it's one thing if you're a playboy, like, okay, the anime, Utapri, it is like my favorite anime of all time and is based on an Otome game. And there's a playboy in it. But when he sees the female protagonist, everything stops. And he pursues her comfortably, but all the other women disappear. And that's what I expected from Icky. And I didn't get that, and it pissed me off. And Corgi, if he has a puzzle game in Amnesia Crowd, I will never play it because that sounds terrible.
The routes from the routes that we've discussed thus far with both Shin and with Icky, I feel like they were experience levels, or not experience levels. That's not what I want to say. Uh, how do I want to put this?
Education?
No, no, not education. I felt like they were supposed to be playthroughs or routes that were like, oh, this is an easy route. This is a medium type of route. And then once you get to Kent and Toma, I feel like that's where the level of difficulty raises. If there was supposed to be a purpose for Icky's route in this game, which I feel there was a purpose for Shin's, I can't figure out what the purpose of Icky's route was. I really can't. Like, I feel like it was just made as a complete troll. Like, I just want to fuck with you. I just want to fuck with you. So this is the route that we're going to give you. I can't
I
find any
wonder if
semblance
he,
for it.
I wonder if he was made to support Kent though, because they're so close, and the little things he does in Kent, they're not big things, but he does test him. Like, we'll get there, never mind. I don't want to skip ahead. But I wonder if he was there to be more supportive, like maybe Shin was there to be more supportive of Toma. I don't know.
I mean, if it was intended to be done in a sense of yin and yang, where they definitely are polar opposites, yet they still complement each other somehow, I will definitely agree with that. I think that they do that in this story and in each other's routes very, very well, because that's another point. In Icky's route, Kent, if you don't know Kent's route or Kent's path, Kent seems to be his moral compass in this storyline, and we'll discuss it later. I feel in many ways Icky is Kent's moral compass in his route, but not in a negative sense. It's done right. It's not done in a bad way, and I guess in that regard that does make sense. But I just feel like there just wasn't enough to make me feel like there was the potential for change. And
Yeah, no.
I don't ever want to change a person. Even in an Otome game, like I don't want to. I don't really want to be the heroine that's like, I want to make you a better man. But in this one, I wanted to smack the shit out of him to make him realize how stupid he looked. Like, it was that frustrating for me. It really was.
And the messages were so hot and cold, hot and cold. And I was like, I don't even put up with this shit in my real life. Why am I going to put up with this in a virtual? Like, you're not even real, and I can't even get like a read on you. You won't even, you say that you care about me. You call me up late, drunk at night. You ask me weird questions, but you can't tell these girls no, and you can't put it into it. Like, that just constantly haunted me through the whole playthrough. Like, I just couldn't drop it. Just couldn't drop it.
And what's upsetting about this storyline is if you get it on the first playthrough, you get a bad ending, and you have to replay through it again, and you don't know where where the big change was that could have possibly made you go from bad to normal. Having to repeatedly go through this playthrough was torture. Like, I can't tell you how many times I had to stop, put it down, walk away, because I need to cool off, and then come back and be like, let me deal with this motherfucker again. Like, let's go. Like, this was an actual route that I could have done it in one playthrough, and even with regardless of whatever ending I got, I would be like, that's fine. I'm done. I don't even have the desire to want to try to get the best ending. Like, it was enough for me to just go, okay, it is what it is. I ended up doing it anyway because I wanted to see it. I was just like, no, not really, not particularly.
Yeah.
I think as a breath of fresh air, we should bring up the next man in our list here, who is hands down my favorite route in this game. I am Team Clover. I am so Team Clover. Kent was my favorite storyline, and it's because there's so many reasons I like Kent. Kent is the stereotypical bookworm. He's the nerd. He's the geek. And he is so robotic and very logical and very calculated in his responses. Everything about him, I have dated, and am still currently dating, someone that bears strong semblance to him. And because of that, I enjoy the storyline so much. And I think a couple other people shared that same experience too. I think there was Breadmaster Lee on Twitter who said her husband had played it. And he's like, I'm romancing myself. I'm like, that's what my boyfriend said too. It's creepy. But this is definitely my favorite storyline in the entire game.
Yeah, so Kent made this a normal Otome game for me, and it brought logic and a sense of reason into this fucking chaos that were the like that drove me insane. And I remember I was like, I finished Icky's, and Icky's took me a very long time as well. Like, I would play it, get pissed off, put it down. And I picked up Kent's route, and I was like, yes, that is logical. Let's go with that. Yes, that makes sense. You're asking questions and you're being honest. Let's do this honesty thing because I fucking need it after that last route. And I loved him. Like, I don't know. I don't think I've ever met someone that didn't like Kent. And if I ever do, I really want to have a serious conversation as to why, because I just don't understand. He saved me. He allowed me to finish playing this game. He like literally calmed my heart rate down. He's adorable. I don't know if maybe I like him because he is such a normal guy. And that, like in a lot of Otome games, you have this guy, and they all kind of have their little cookie cutter designs sometimes. But Kent was just like, literally, it was like my husband. And he was like, your boyfriend, for you. And so it was really kind of interesting to me that he just seemed like just a smart, normal guy that was trying to make sense of things and be really logical. Now, the math part was a little overbearing for me, but, it's better than a lot of the other routes that I had to put up with. So I'll do some math. I can do that.
I was okay. So if you have not played this route, get a calculator handy. Get a calculator. Get some pen and paper. You have to. And I will be honest, the very reason that I played this route last was because I was forewarned by you and other select members of the Otome community on Twitter that you would have to do math. I don't math well. I don't math well. I'm a horrible mather. Word problems are not my forte. I look far too deep in them, completely missing the point. So, 10 minutes into the route, he already is sitting down at the cafe, and he's like, well, we'll see who pays for this meal, or who will pay for this lunch, or whatever. What's this plus this? And I'm like, oh, shit, $14.50. And I was like, okay, got it. That was easy. And then he does this sweet gesture. And I'm a person who loves handmade presents. I love handmade presents because you know that it came from the heart. You know the thought that they put into it. And for him, thinking that the only handmade thing that he could make with true effort and sincerity was a math workbook was absolutely adorable to me. I blushed so hard. I'm still blushing about it. I thought it was adorable. I was tempted to call my boyfriend and be like, can you make me a math workbook? Until I had to do the problems. I was like, nah, I changed my mind. You don't have to. It's no big deal. But just he did the simple things. He did the trivial things. I admire the simple and trivial things. And you're right. He is a very normal guy, and it's a very calming route for me because there is nothing, that involved glitz or glamour. It didn't involve stars making your eyes fuckable, and didn't involve, stories with your childhood and having to deal with bullshit at a hotel because it was a
Okay,
murder
wait,
mystery
wait, wait.
dinner.
That is your quote, Smashy. That's your job. Stars that make your eyes fuckable. Pizza made, quote, mark it, and we'll tweet it out later. Continue, please.
But it's true. It's so unbelievably true that this route felt, and it felt so romantic to me because it felt so real. That's what I loved about this route. Everything about this route felt real to me. Even the fact that he would break down his house plants by genus and species and what their form of nutrition is and how they regulate do it. I have a significant other who, if we were to decorate a Christmas tree, if one thing is not symmetrical or in place with the others and it looks too crumpled, his OCD will freak the fuck out and he'll be like, I have to fix this. Like, everything about this reminded me of either who I was with or somebody I've been with in the past. This is a relatable route. And I like that so, so much. And I feel like that's what they did so well. And it still had its level of complexity, but it was done in a way that didn't make you lose your mind. It didn't frustrate you. It didn't anger you. That's what I enjoyed about this route.
It was all done. I'm sorry, I'm tweeting your
No, that's
comment.
Cool. That's totally fine.
I thought it was very it was just amazing. I really liked it. Very it, it was just I just can't express it enough that literally I felt my heart rate go back down.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I picked up his route, and he was so sweet. You meet his family, and they're so sweet, and they're so cute and adorable, and the way he's kind of protective of his mom, and and he just really wants to try, and his CGs at the end are just
The London
beautiful.
CG. The London CG is actually
oh
my phone wallpaper. I was so unbelievably happy with it. I don't know if you can see it. Whoops. I actually got texted by the boyfriend. Whoops. But it looked so good. It was the London in the fall, the studying abroad. The fact that it was a long distance relationship immediately tugged at my heartstrings. Immediately. Mm-hmm. Because that's what I'm currently going through right now. There were so many nuances and so many instances in this route that just felt relatable. And I love that.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what elevated the heartbeat, even though it also simultaneously calmed you down. Like, it made it a relaxing, comfortable playthrough, as opposed to everything else where you're like, I don't know who the fuck to trust. You didn't have a reason not to trust Ken.
Yeah. And I loved how Yukio said it. Like, he corners you at one point, and he's like, oh, you're dating Kent? You'll like, be pretty much, like, totally safe. And when I saw that in the route, I was like, oh my God, this is like, no wonder you're in the middle. And just like Mocha said in chat, Kent is the calm before the storm, looks at Toma. That is so true.
Yes.
And you need, Kent just kind of hits that reset bar. And it seems very natural, very comforting. It seems like a very natural connection that would happen in everyday life. And how they grow together. She changes, he changes. They share bad moments, and they try. Like, it's one of my favorite. Like, I would play that route over and over and over again because there's so much growth on both sides, and they really put an effort in the relationship, and they really kind of fall in love, and it was exactly what I needed after Icky. So
it's a very true representation of what you need to do in a relationship. Yeah, I feel
exactly
the way it was presented with Shin, the way it was presented with Icky, Toma the homeboy, They all offer perspectives on what relationships could be like if there's a lack of communication. And of course, the obvious lack of communication in the game is because you don't have memories, so you don't know who to trust. You know what I mean? But
Right.
this route in particular, kind of put all those things aside. I definitely agree. This was a reset. This was a refresher, and that was because they introduced you to Toma, and God, I'm gonna say my piece on this, and then Sushi, I'm just gonna give you the floor because I will be the first to say, and I will openly admit, after the bad endings that I got with Toma, I was I was not traumatized, but it startled me so much that I didn't even want to go through another playthrough of his route. I didn't.
Are
It was
are
too
we
scary for
moving
me.
on?
We have, yeah, I think it's necessary.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Okay.
I'm gonna say my piece and then I'm just gonna give it over to you.
Okay.
Toma Toma in this game, the reason this game is dark is I think because of Toma and Ukiyo. I don't even think Ikki is the reason that this game is considered a dark atonement
No.
game. Toma and
No.
Ukiyo, to varying degrees, are the reasons that this game is dark. I have said it in earlier episodes of CB Heroines. If you have triggers to very sensitive subjects regarding domestic abuse, regarding violence, regarding, isolation from other people because of a significant other, and even so far as to saying, it goes a little deeper than that. This was the route that if I had played if I had played Kent first, I think that I would have stopped the game. I would have stopped playing the game altogether. Because Toma left such a horrible taste in my mouth of what happened. And it was because my judgment, my question and judgment was severely, it was hit pretty hard. I thought that he was somebody that had my perception of him and what he wound up actually being were so dramatically different that as a person in real life, and mind you, I'm a 30-year-old woman living in New York City, a big fucking city, and I didn't find myself comfortable trusting anybody because of the way I couldn't trust him. This was the route that I think was a little too serious and hit too close to home. And I remember discussing in other earlier episodes how this was the fan favorite and now he's considered the protector. I'm sure there is a reason for this, and I hope you can give me that understanding. But I can honestly say that the reason that I can put down this game after I finish all my trophies and never touch it again is because of Toma. I did not like that Toma route at all. That Toma route legit scared the shit out of me. Like, not Five Nights at Freddy's style, but it was on that caliber.
Right.
And I was like, nah, I'm done with this route. I'm okay. So,
And I respect that. I totally get where you're coming from. Um, I will say, uh, if you follow me on Twitter, you know this. If not, I have a confession to make. I am Team Toma now. Um, I had an experience when I did his good and normal route. The good route is very, very sweet. Um, the the normal route is heart-wrenching. Like, I cried a lot on the couch in his normal route, and um so the normal route is um everything happens the way it does. You wind up in a cage in a Lolita maid outfit, and you find out that he is, in love with you and always has been and has trouble expressing his feelings, and he wants to protect you because, Icky's fangirls are once again destroying your life and sharing your personal information on websites to hook up and, like just ruining your name. And at the end of Toma's normal route, you, well, okay, so you escape, and guess what happens? A car almost hits you, right? What are the odds? And
not the dog? Are
so
you sure it's just you?
you get, Yeah, it's just you that's
Okay,
out.
I'm just
So you
checking.
get scraped up, your ankle is like sprained, and you realize you can't go very far. You're trying to get back to your apartment. You break out of the cage, right? So because you're injured, you go back to the house and you get back in the cage. Well, he comes in, Toma comes home. He sees that you're all scraped up and he knows clearly you've gotten out. And he takes offense to it and he's like, "Okay, you're leaving me again. Like I've always wanted to be with you." Like the usual thing about how much he loves you and he realizes that you're never going to be his, but he has to keep you even more. And then you push him out of the way and you run out of his apartment and Shin is coming in. So Shin sees you. Oh yeah, and Toma made you strip to your underwear. So Shin sees you running out of the house, beaten up in your underwear, and he goes, "Toma did this. I know he did it." And then it's fast forwards, and it's the female protagonist talking to herself, and she explains that Toma has moved away, never to come back, and she misses him, and she realizes what he was trying to do, and she realized that she loved him, and like they're never ever going to be together ever again. And I literally like because two people can't fucking talk to each other, like your lives are ruined. Like it just tore me apart. Like I was just like, God, if you two just sat down and actually had a conversation, maybe you wouldn't have been put in a cage. Maybe like
Apparently, you
Shin wouldn't
still
have
would have
thought
get.
you've been sexually assaulted.
Apparently, you still got put in a cage, even in the normal ending. That was enough to make me go, okay,
Yeah,
we're done. We're done here. We're done.
but it was like his ending, no matter how delusional and bad, I'm not condoning his acts.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me. I'm not saying go out and put someone in a cage that you really like because it's sweet. Um, but his normal route made him a person to me instead
Hmm.
of this scary, I don't understand what you're doing, that's really screwed up. It totally showed that in his own delusional way, that was all he knew how to do
Hmm.
because he had always protected you. He didn't know any other way. He couldn't really talk, but he really cared about you. And then seeing that love in return towards him and the fact that they're going to be lonely now
Hmm.
forever, it just really, oh my God, it just ripped my heart out.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, so he's confused. He needs therapy, but Team Toma, like all the way. And the good ending, um, the same thing happens. You get out of the house, you get scraped up, you come back in, and he like he like pulls you out of the cage or something, and your diary that you've had for like days that you've never looked at falls out. And well, right before he got back, you read the diary, I'm sorry, and you realized that you loved Toma and that you had been seeing Icky to learn how to make Toma see you as a woman, not as like a child, right?
Uh huh.
And so your diary falls out and Toma reads it and he realizes that you care about him as much as he cares about you. And, the cage is gone and you guys are happy. And I just, it took the crazy out of it, the normal route at the very end. I saw him as a weak, confused person, not knowing what to do and only doing what he thought was right. And I'm not condoning that, but it really just broke my heart.
But I feel like this is the second instance in this game where the normal ending was slightly more profound than the good ending. Because even Shin was like
Yes.
that in his normal ending.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing for me to see in this game because the way endings are presented, they're they're kind of tiered the way they are, and I think we can agree in most of Tomei's. It's easy to discern and differentiate between a good ending, a normal ending, and a bad ending. This is the Otome game where it's all up for grabs. It's open for interpretation.
Yeah.
That's actually really cool. I respect your opinions as
Yeah.
to where you stood on Toma, and I agree with you. I probably would have liked the normal ending more than the good ending because it just doesn't seem real to me that
Yeah.
it's like, oh, now you saw the diary. Oh shit, I fucked up. I'm sorry. Let me take you out of the cage and let's be together forever happily. Like that doesn't seem real to me. I think the normal ending probably would
Yeah.
have made me do the same thing. Do I think it would have made me Team Toma? I don't think so. But I would have respected him more. I really would have respected him more. But Toma,
Yeah.
that dog, I want to understand. I get that he was always seen as the big brother, seen as the protector, seen as the one watching over the heroine and Shin. But I feel like it isn't defined well enough in the storyline as to what drew him to that level of protection. Because I think if this was meant to be protection, I don't. I want to know where
Well,
that idea
because
stemmed from. Why the cage?
it
Why?
comes from, so in his route he had cameras on the house. Like
Mm.
that's how they found out who was doing it, and they actually like threatened to prosecute Icky's fan club, the girls, and they went to Icky and he put an end to it. But Toma was constantly monitoring your cell phone, your apartment to shield you from that danger and those acts of hatred. He was on 24-hour watch, like constantly. And he just saw the only way to protect you is to make your world smaller and smaller and smaller to the point where he could control obviously everything. I think to me, it's kind of like he started out with good intentions, like, yeah, come stay at my house. But then the more you, as a normal human being, would be like, I want to go out, I want to live my life. And he's like, oh my God, I'm so scared. Like, look, you left and this happened and that happened. And what more can I do? Like, just a really overprotective boyfriend that can't trust and is just too worried about the what might happens. And I think maybe if he had approached her and said, "Hey, this shit is happening. This is why I'm trying to protect you. Please stay in the house," instead of just being like, "Oh, don't go out. Eat more of my food and pass out all night on my bed." Like that I think if he had done explain more, but I mean, I don't think that would have been because he didn't want you to know that he liked you. Like, it's just, I guess that's what makes his normal route so sad to me is that there was a lack of communication so much through his routes that if he had just opened up more, I think, and said, this is why I'm doing this, that I don't know.
You know
Maybe
what?
I'm thinking about it too much, but
No, no, no. I don't think you're thinking about it too much. Even in the bad endings, it was prevalent that he was trying to shield you from the things that could harm you in the world. Like with the way, the computer was turned off so that when he turned it on, you didn't see those messages in your email and you didn't know that your name was being thrown around in a prostitution kind of way. And of course, even with, the mailbox incident and what was happening there, like he tried to I just feel like he went the progression of Toma's protection went from common, understandable things that I can actually really hear about in real life to holy shit Petco. Holy shit Petco.
right.
And that was what I think the way it just was such a whirlwind in how it just came by so fast. And I guess that was just the bad ending because of the bad ending that I got. That was enough to make me just cringe because one, I am a slowpoke in life, and I don't mind that. I've always been slow and steady. That's how I win the race. I don't mind being the tortoise in life. Uh, it was so quick, it elevated so fast that it didn't give you time to process what was happening, to make sense, or to
Yeah.
even accept or justify the situations that were being presented to you. And the fact that it kind of came to me so fast, it felt like a sense of violation. I felt somewhat violated. I felt a little like turned off from it all. And I think it's for that reason I wasn't a fan of the route. I can understand and sympathize, and I do. I legitimately feel sorry that he wanted to protect her so much that he went through such great measures. But I feel like the way the story was progressing, specifically in my route, I can't say it'd be the same for anybody else. It was done in such a whirlwind that it scared me more than it made me understand. Like it purposely made me ignorant. And I don't want to be an ignorant about a person's route in a game, but that's what it did. That's definitely what it did.
Right. And I think um just like you said before, the normal route made more sense for him because um feelings were feelings came to the surface, but he paid for what he did. And unfortunately, so did she.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was much more real, kind of like we were talking about how Kent it was a very real character. I think his normal route, no matter how bittersweet it was what you kind of wanted to happen. You're like, no, so she was saved by her other childhood friend, and now this crazy person is gone and will never come back. No matter how much she loves him, sometimes it just, when someone's bad for you, and you
Yeah.
might care for them and love them and want them to be around, but you know that they can't be. So that ending seemed much more real to me. I mean, the good ending was sweet. When I read it, I was like, oh, yay, good. They actually liked each other, and I could see how happy he was. And I mean, he made comments like, I know you're gonna hate me, and I know Shin's gonna hate me. I'm losing control. Like, he knew what he was doing was bad. Um, and that he was going to get in trouble for it. And it just so happens in his normal route, they both pay the price, and that is just heartbreaking to me. Like, it would be one thing if he moved away or he went to jail and she was like, "Oh, thank God I hated him." Then I'd be like, "Yeah, you're going to jail." You know what I mean? But like because I found out that she really cared about him, it just like I sobbed. Like snot, everything. Like it just really really upset me. So,
It
but yeah.
seems very much, it's a very similar vein to the star-crossed lovers of Romeo and Juliet, that they worked so hard to try to be
Yes.
together. And I mean, granted, they weren't from opposite, families or anything of that sort, but there was that sense of separation for them. And yet, they tried to come together and it just came about in such a very twisted kind of way. And then, it was seen that they did care for each other, and then they still had to get separated. Like it's an unfortunate. It was very Shakespearean. That was a very Shakespearean route, in my opinion,
Yes.
and I can
Yes.
respect that. I definitely can respect that, but I will continue to say, I think, again, I haven't played Ukiyo though. Toma is the reason this game is a darker Otome. This is so the reason this game is a darker Otome. But I can respect that. I think I'm more or less fascinated by the fact that this game gave you so many different endings, and regardless of what the ending was, even if it wasn't the good ending, it somehow made a stronger impact than the others.
Yes. Yeah. It really did. It really did.
And I could even ask you, like, if you were to ask me, like, oh, what's your favorite CG of the game? I don't have one. I can tell you which one scared me the most. I can definitely tell you which one scared me the most. And it's
Which one?
the one of her in the cage like this. It's at the end of one of the bad routes, and where he's like, "You'll be with me forever," and he has her kind of by the neck while she's wearing the maid outfit or the Lolita outfit, and he's kind of behind her.
Yeah.
That was burned into my mind and scared the absolute shit out of me. I was like, "Oh God, stranger danger, stranger danger."
So there, my favorite one, and this is embarrassing to admit from Toma's route, Um, I'm not proud of this, but I am Team Atome Trash. Yay.
Team
So
Tomei
I'm
Trash.
just gonna say, um, when he drugs you, but he slips it into your mouth from his mouth, I thought that was really hot CG. Not not what he was doing, but at the same time what he was doing because most of the other ones, like the kisses are almost there, but this was like there's some action going on. I was like, oh my, this is getting hot in here. Like,
as a complete
it,
aside from
I
every
mean,
as a complete aside from everything, I look forward to you playing one romanceable character in Code Realize now for this very reason. I can't wait to see it because you're gonna love Code Realize.
oh
Go
my God, I'm
for it.
scared.
No, it's good. It's
Who?
good. I'm not gonna tell you who. That'll spoil things. But there is a
Okay.
route. There is a romanceable
Okay.
route in the game. If you like that, they got you covered. They looked out for you. It's great.
Okay.
Go for it. Seriously, it's
Well,
an
I think,
awesome route.
well, do you want to move on to our Joker?
Yes. I will be the first to tell you that I did not play Ukyo because I clearly did not finish all of the routes. Unfortunately, time was not on my side, and I did not get all the good routes because I was too afraid of going into Toma. So, what am I doing? Oh, I'm fucking shit up. Fucking shit up. I done messed up. Alright. I think that.
So, are you okay with spoilers, or do you not want me? Because I don't want to ruin it for you.
No, I am totally okay with you doing spoilers because I'm gonna eventually get to them. I'm not too worried about it. I was planning on just looking for a guide for Ukyo too. To give a little
Okay.
preface for everybody who may be playing Amnesia for the first time or not familiar with it, Ukyo is the character that you unlock after getting all 4 good routes. Heart, Spade, Clover, Diamond in Amnesia. You unlock Ukyo. Ukyo is considered the Bowser of Amnesia in that he has, I believe, 12 bad endings or 8 bad endings. Something crazy. There's the probability ratio of getting a good ending on Ukyo is a little harder compared to others just because he's purposely meant to be that difficult. And you've seen him appear kind of like a specter in different routes of the entire game, but you don't know much about him. Makes it very interesting, definitely
Right.
very alluring, very elusive. But is he good or is he bad? That's where I kind of turned the tables over to you, Sushi, because I'm curious to get the good word on this.
So, like I said, I did see the anime before I played the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of knew the story. But basically, you and Yukio are tied together. You were lovers. You met, instantly fell in love, had this connection, and you died. And he's jumping between worlds to try and find a world where like your fates are tied. So if you die, he lives, but if he dies, you live. So he's jumping between the worlds to find a world where he can be with you and hopefully not have one of you have to die. Um, and how he's doing this is if you remember in the very beginning, um, what's his name? The sprite
Orion.
guy, Orion. He reveals that he has a lord that he works for, you know. Well, that lord is with Yukio, and that's how he's able to travel between the worlds. Well, doing this so often that apparently he has made him fucking crazy to the point where he has, with his own hands, killed you in terribly, horribly ways. So the car that hit you was probably him. The bus or the person that pushed you in front of the train, that was him.
Mm-hmm.
He's pushed you down a well. He stabbed you. He's I mean, anything you can possibly imagine, he has done to you,
Wait, did he hurt
and
your
it's his
dog
crazy
though?
person.
Did he hurt your dog?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't remember. I
I
don't
don't
think
know
so.
why I cared about this dog so much, but I legitimately cared about this dog. I was like, fuck, my dog died. Okay. Continue. I'm sorry.
So in his route, he's a very sweet person, but he keeps warning you to stay away from him, and he warns you about all these things that you shouldn't do. Like you shouldn't walk home this way. And then when you walk home another way, you find out that on that road there was a terrible wreck, and like right where you would have been, like all these things just fell apart and would have killed you. So basically, the world is out, to get rid of you, and he's trying to protect you because if you live to August 30th, then the cycle is broken on your part. I think that's how it goes. So he's trying to keep you alive that whole time. And so you're learning more about him and you're kind of falling for him. And then you see his crazy side that like comes out randomly. And that's like he's just kind of split personality. Um, so his route was very, I knew it was going to be sweet because he is a very, like, he really like loves the character and the female protagonist. Um, I liked his route. It definitely he has some of the best CGs like in the game, I think, hands down. It's funny that he and Toma are last because Toma shows up in one of Yukio's bad endings and there's blood involved, and I think I mentioned this last week. Um, it caught me off guard. It was really quite shocking. Um, and they both use chains. There's one part where Yukio handcuffs himself to the table because he's at your place looking out for you like while you sleep, and he's so concerned that he's going to hurt you that he handcuffs himself. So it's really kind of interesting. Oh, and at one point he also pulls out like pepper spray and like a baton. Like he gives you all these weapons and he's like, if I come after you, just use them on me and then call 911. And you're like, where did you pull this stuff from? Like, how did you have this on you, you know? But yeah, I think he has like 7 or 8 bad endings, and Toma is one of them, and he basically kills um some of the Icky fan club
My
girls.
God. Toma.
And no, wait, yeah, yeah, and he takes you to his house, and you walk in. If you want to see the CG for it, um, this is a guy that one of my friends on Twitter. Um, it has a lot. You have to scroll down to almost halfway, and you just see it's a CG of Toma with really creepy eyes, and there's blood in the background. But it really doesn't do it justice because on the Vita, it just lit up. Like it was just you walk in and you don't even see Toma. You just see that spot, and I was just like, holy shit, there's blood in an Otome game. Like other than Hakuoki, which that's war, like I kind of, you know, but that really, because he has that white floor, it just totally caught me off guard. So, but I liked him. I guess I went with the crazy guys this game. Like I really, my 3 favorites were Toma, Yukio, and Kent, like all tied. I can't pick one over the other. Um,
Ukio, I think I could
it was
sympathize with. I like that explanation of Ukio where he doesn't want to hurt you, so he finds ways to protect you while also kind of protecting himself. I like that. I kind of wish I
But
had
he's
gotten
been
that route.
killing you forever. Like he's been murdering you with his own hands.
Shit happens, you know? Shit
Oh my
happens.
God. So how is he better than Toma?
Cause he's a lord. It's completely fictitious. It's a fictitious like fuck. No, no. Definitely he has been killing you for a while. That does suck. But I find a little more respect in a person that says, I'm probably going to try to kill you. Take this pepper spray. Take this baton. I'm going to handcuff myself. Don't let him hurt you, but don't let me hurt you either. I have a little bit of respect for somebody that does that. Will it make me fall in
Right,
love
but
with
you
you?
don't
No.
know.
Yeah, no, I
You
don't
don't
think
know
that.
his split personalities for a while, though.
That's an unfortunate. This is why Doctor Who should never fall in love. Let's be real. This is a Doctor. They just took a line from Doctor Who and elevated it to 20. They're like, well, if we can't be a Time Lord, we can be an Otome Lord, and we can kill the shit out of you, but we do it because we love you. It's like, and there. So I mean, what it comes down to with Ukyo is there's no real chance of there being a happy ending. Like I can't see where the happy ending was in Ukyo's route, or was
There
there?
is. There is a happy ending. So basically he dies. Everything kind of resets and Orion says, "Okay, you lived." Um, and he's like, "Well, what do you want to do?" And you have a choice. That's where you go for the good or normal ending at that point. And either you forgive him for what he's done, and then they kind of put you in this, they kind of bring you back to life. And there's this great CG of like Orion and the Lord, and they meet you in the real world, and Ukyo recognizes them, even though they look different, but you don't. Like, you're like, who were those people? And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. So clearly he still remembers, which is also sad in a way because that means he remembers hurting you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And that hurts him like a lot, knowing that he killed you so many times and everything. But if you say I can't forgive him, it goes to the normal route. But if you do forgive him, you guys come back to life. You kind of start over, and then Orion and the Lord kind of have to live in the human world to pay back for messing around with human lives as much as they did. So, um, it's I liked it, but like I said, I knew going into it his story and what it was going to be. So it didn't bother me when he was like, "Oh, I pushed you in front of a train. Oh, I stabbed you 6 times." Like, yeah, no, I know it's fine. We'll talk about it later.
I'm pissed. We're gonna put you in timeout. I just hope you think about what you did after the fact. Now,
Exactly.
this was this was a very good mixed game of fantasy and romance. Like, I feel like it had just the right combination of each, where there was a lot of reality and there was a lot of fiction, and it was done in a way where in the instances that they clashed, it clashed well.
Hmm.
I think it's just I think this game gave me a better understanding that I carry a preference of the more realistic scenarios and situations. And
Yeah.
I can understand and appreciate the fictitious parts of it. Like, I can understand the fantasy of it, but I just don't do well with making the appropriate choices in those points. I think that's what this game reminded me. But I think the game is very, very well done. I think it's awesome, and I think that I still stand by my statement that it's still in a league of its own, and definitely a leader of a pack, because there are no other Otome games that are like this. There's so many Otome games that are so similar in just appearance and music and CG. This one definitely was something different, and even the darker tones that I don't personally like, I can respect that they were done. I just don't
Hmm.
understand how Toma was a fan favorite still. And I know that it's different cultural differences in Japan, so be it. It doesn't make sense to me though how Toma is a fan favorite. I guess even now knowing both the normal and good endings, I'm still like, okay, I understand. I still don't know where this was the fan favorite, but I think it's just a matter of personal opinion, really. Definitely a matter of personal opinion.
I mean, just take, he's literally just like Shin, in my opinion, where you've known each other a long time, childhood friends, long romance that's been budding. between the two of you. Scared to say it. But in Shin's case, you guys talked about it. You were dating. It was clear, like, it would already happen. Shin had his I almost used a word there. His acts, we'll say, were more verbal.
Mm-hmm.
Calling you fat, calling you, baka all the time. Whereas Toma's were more physical, like where he was like physically restricting you. So to me, it just, I don't know. They're kind of, I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to justify
No, no,
Toma
no.
too much.
There's
I'm
no,
not defending him.
there's no, and there's no need to have to feel a sense that you have to defend or justify Toma. Like, I respect and understand your opinions. Like, I see and understand clearly why you were so drawn to his storyline. And I understand the impact that it made on you. And I can understand if it made that impact on a lot of different people. I just feel for myself
Right.
that that Shin is to Kent. Like, Shin is a milder version of Kent, and Ikki is a milder version of Toma. And then I feel like the Joker's, I feel like Ukyo is just a myriad of different things. Like, I feel like someone's just taking all these
Yeah.
paintbrushes and just like kind of smacking it towards the canvas, and whatever sticks sticks. Like that. This game, given bearing that it has no uh, premise behind it other than you don't have amnesia and you have to figure things out. It's just this game tugs at you in so many different ways than a usual Otome did, because it doesn't just mess with your heart, but it messes with your mind, and it messes with
Yeah.
so many parts of your psyche that it's very overstimulating, extremely overstimulating. I appreciate it and I welcome it. Doesn't mean that I like it though.
Yeah, and I will insert our usual disclaimer with this game. If you are playing Amnesia Memories, you can put it down. Put it down if you feel like you need to. There are other great Otome games out there that are more upbeat that maybe provide that break that you need. Or if you get to a certain route and it is too much for you, just, don't worry about it. Don't feel like you have to push yourself through it. If you want CGs, there are plenty of places to find CGs out there. If you want to read the story, there are plenty of places to read what happens if that's easier for you. But, you know, having physically felt my body go through changes when playing this game, like we said last week, we'll say it again. Don't feel like you have to play it or you have to rush through it. Like, really put it down if you're having a reaction to it.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't push yourself.
Do you
But
think
it's a good game.
I want to ask you personally, because you watched the anime from start to finish, knowing what you knew from the anime, did it still give you any sense of preparation for what the game would be like? So, in theory, do you think that it actually matters if you did see the anime or not? And this is a legitimate question.
I think so. I think so. And that maybe we want to do a poll because I know Reniki and Healbot, I know that they watch the anime as well. I'm sure plenty of people have. The anime's been out a while, but
Mm.
I it gave me a better sense of what I was going into. So I was a bit more prepared, but at the same time, I wasn't like I don't remember Icky because most of them only got one episode each, except Toma. I think maybe Toma had two episodes. And Yukio had a couple. So, I don't remember Icky seeming like he would drive me crazy, the way that he did in the game. And Kent didn't really make an impression on me, as much as he did when I played the game. So I was surprised at parts, but I think the more traumatic parts I was prepared for. Like I knew I was going to end up in a cage with Toma. I knew it. And I remember vividly when I watched it because I was working out and combining anime at the same time. And I just went to Twitter. I was like, what the fuck just happened? Like, everything was fine, and now I'm in a cage. And so I was prepared, I think, maybe for the worst parts of it, but not on the same level. Like I knew what was going to happen, but I wasn't as emotionally invested as you get with an Otome game
So would
compared
you
to sometimes with an anime.
so would you still recommend that people hold off on watching the anime if they're starting the game?
I would.
Okay.
Um, that would be my preference. But if you want to gauge how well you're going to handle things, if you've made it this far in the podcast and you want to gauge how you're going to handle this, I would encourage you to watch the anime. It is on Crunchyroll, I know for sure because it's on my favorites. Um, it will tell you the story, everything that we have just said, and it will put you in the world. And if you can make it through that, then you'll probably be fine through the game. But be aware some of the bad endings are definitely not shown in the anime, and those can be a bit more disturbing at some parts. Um, so it just depends. Like if you are gun ho and you're like, I'm gonna be fine, I'm so excited, please by all means jump into the game. But if you have any reservations, I would encourage you to watch the anime first if you don't mind spoilers.
Yeah. This is definitely this is definitely a game that I'm excited and glad that came out. But damn, it hits right now for the times. Just I think the way a lot of the subjects approached in this game, how they were approached, are such taboo topics that it's really hard to speak about on social media. And there's so many times that I wanted to talk about, points within Toma's route, points in Ikki's route, points in Shin's route, that I knew that if I made mention of them, I would immediately be hit with a backlash of offensive comments, or I'm offended, or I don't think that's politically correct, this and that. The fact that this game came out in the prime of just so many heated debates on just what's considered political correctness, that's ballsy to me. And I respect so much about the game about that. I really do. So,
I I think it's because it's still kind of under the radar that I think if I mean I know Dodger has played it, some of it, but I think it could become controversial if people that haven't played these kinds of games before, they may see, they may make a big deal about it, but I think because it is kind of under the radar, we can get away with a little bit more, if that makes sense.
mm-hmm. And that's something that also does make me slightly nervous. Is that my specific hope and goal, and it's the very reason why we started this podcast, is to grow the Otome community and bring more awareness to the genre as a whole. I already know that it carries some negative connotations, or it carries some reservations with people. I wonder if a game like this would completely scare them away, or give them, a second perspective about it. Like, make them think, okay, well, maybe I'll give this a shot. I don't know. I don't know entirely. And that's something that I can really only say about this game. I feel like if this game never existed, and let's just say Code Realize existed in this world, I think Code Realize would be a great gateway game
Hmm.
to let other people see what the genre is about and kind of engage them to want to check it out. I don't know if Amnesia would be the same way. I would hope that people would try Amnesia because I think it is such a complex game that I've even seen now, despite it being under the radar, just with close friends around me, that they've kind of immersed themselves into the game, and they're taking it just as serious as I did, because it carries so many serious topics, and it's
Hmm.
even with the level of romance that's in it, which I feel is somewhat minimal, it still engages the mind in so many ways. I would love to see this game be a strong representative of Otome to show to others, but I'm afraid of its reception. I think that's the point I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah. No,
very
I
nervous about
agree.
that.
I agree.
I would sincerely
I'd
hope
be
people would be
curious
open.
to see like Oh, go ahead.
No, no, that's it. That's exactly what I was gonna say. I'm curious as to how open-minded people are gonna be about this game if they tried it and are new to
Yeah.
Otome.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to like do a focus group with them and be like, "So, are you scared? Do you want to pick up a mobile game now, or are you like totally turned off? Like, do you never want to see another 2D guy ever again?" You know,
You know,
I would be curious.
and even when we had other discussions with, and it's been great because just in these last few weeks alone, we've made so many new friends and so many other different podcasts that talk about Otome. I remember when Tim Riello was talking about an Otome on the aggro chat, I was legitimately nervous that he was talking about Amnesia and not Hakuoki because I was like, oh my god, how is he going to handle Hakuoki? Like, I don't know how people are going to receive this. Like, I get nervous about it almost. Like, I want to protect it because it's almost my child, but in the same token, gotta let it free. And whatever comes, comes, I guess. So I'm
Yeah.
just like, ugh. But, on a rating scale, I was curious to ask you this too. On a rating scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate Amnesia?
Um, what was this 1 to 10?
10 being the
Um,
best and 1 being the worst. Yeah.
okay. So I go by, I'm gonna judge first my emotional reaction first.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and CG's voice acting, I'm gonna gauge all that. Um, 8 to 9. Because I mean, even though Icky drove me crazy, I had an emotional reaction. I was invested in that route. And when I become invested in an Otome game, whether it's good, bad, ugly, indifferent, it's done its job, in
Yeah.
my opinion. And so I wouldn't say that it is like my tip top favorite because it's not. It definitely has. It is up there though,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say like a 9. I'll give it a 9. What about you?
Again, for the way that the game made me feel, I can only reiterate this so many times before becoming redundant. For the way that this game made me feel, moreover, the way this game stimulated me. And this is removing the fluff of the game, removing the music, removing the art, and just looking at the base mechanic and the structure of the game and the mechanics
Hmm.
that followed with it, in conjunction with the storyline. I'll give it an 8. I think it was extremely well done. Regardless if I loved or hated some of the storylines or not, I think it was done very, very well. It was a game that translated, that kind of not translated, transcended, outside of the otome societal norm. This was the game that branched out to other avenues and other audiences, and I think they did it so so well. I do, of course, the way it did stimulate me was both positive and negative. Maybe even slightly more
Right.
negative than positive, which is why I'm giving it 8. But I can't deny the fact that it was done so beautifully. You can't deny that. So I think for that reason,
Yeah.
I definitely give it an 8. Is it a game that I'd pick up again? I don't think it's going to have the same effect on me the way it did this time, the first time around. So I don't know if I'd pick it
Yeah.
up again, but I can confidently say, like, I would note that I played this game in my little archive. What games of Otomes have you played? Well, I played Amnesia Memories. Let me fucking tell you about that. I played with Toma, and Toma does not like to play fetch. I think that was what really that's what really grabbed me about the game. So I'm glad that it was created. I'm glad that it came stateside. Do I want to see more games like that come out in this anytime soon? I could wait. I could wait. Give me more games like Code Realize right now. I
I
need a refresher. I need something a little more lighthearted at the moment.
I would like more variety. Um, I would like more Code Realizes, more Amnesia, more Hakuoki. I would love to see fucking Utapri. Oh my God, if Utapri came over, I'd probably, oh, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. My head would explode. But just to be able to choose and say, I like this, and to have that variety and be introduced to so many different things, that's what I would really, really like is just to have more choices. So,
I love Hakuoki, and Hakuoki will always have a very, it will have a place etched in my heart always because it was, you know, the formal first otome game. I'm not counting, mobile otomes, but it was the first, formal otome game that I played. So that'll always carry resonance with me. But I feel like Hakuoki, its longevity is because of its history, its storyline. I would be okay with there being a little less of that just right now, and bringing it back later or more, with longer periods of time, and then developers just bringing in other games like Amnesia or other games like Utapri.
hmm.
Like, I think that would be great. I agree with you
Clap,
with that variety.
clap.
Yeah, like Clap. And even that, like, even games like Clap, I would be okay with because I think our palate has been tasting, you know, I forget who it was who said it. I think it was Eddie Murphy, where he's like, if you eat a Ritz cracker for the first time, it's like an amazing cracker. Or you eat a cracker and it tastes so good the first time, you're like, oh my god, what is this? Is this a Ritz cracker? But if you keep eating the same cracker over and over, you're just like, it's just a cracker. I feel like that's kind of,
Yeah,
I don't want things to get stale with Atome. And I
yeah,
feel I respect and love Hakuoki, and I'll never, judge it or criticize it, but I definitely want to see just a different array of other games out there so that we don't grow stale on the same thing over and over and over again.
yeah.
So,
Well, speaking of that, um, I'll go into the new releases real quick.
yeah, let's
Cause,
discuss.
okay, so Allie,
What?
just don't. People need. Con I don't know. I'm trying to say that the new Hatoful Boyfriend is out, but I couldn't come up with a funny way of saying it. So the Holiday Star is out and it's on Steam for, let me look. It's 15% off. Yeah, 8.49. If you get the Dove Actually edition,
There's an
uh
actual addition
it's
to it?
12.74. Yeah. They're on sale till the 22nd. So yeah, for all of our bird loving friends out there who I respect immensely, um, go get it. Steam. Tell me how it is. Send me screenshots because I want to see what happens to the bird. Yeah, so
Oh,
thanks, Smashy.
really?
Yeah, I think Pizza, you linked a CG to me at one point from it, didn't you?
I did.
On Twitter?
Wait, are you talking about the sepia tone one? Oh no, are you talking about the birds boiling one?
Yeah.
It was because I saw it and I literally was just staring at it in disbelief that it, one, was on my Twitter feed by just some innocent Twitter follower that I have. And I was like, oh, they're a cool person. And two, it's so painful.
So I don't know if my inner Toma and Yukio came out, but when I saw that picture, I wanted to play the game to torture them. But so go get it, guys. Go get it. Make me a believer. I have been wanting to play Has a Full Boyfriend again when I start streaming again. But tell me how it is. And tell Pizza, because try to convince us, please.
Oh, you're gonna need
Um,
more than just
a plus.
telling me to convince me to play. You're gonna need to buy me a bottle of wine and make sure I've consumed at least half of it before I start playing, because that may be the only way that I'll play this game. It just, oh, I love Tome.
You
Don't
need
love pigeons.
You need to live closer so we could do that. Uh, the next, so we have a bunch of Shall We Date updates.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, on Niflheim, Leo's route has been added and it's available on Android and iTunes. It's all over Facebook. It's kind of cute how they're promoting this because they're actually having the character promote it, and he looks good and he knows it, so it's
Oh,
kind of
Leo
funny.
is.
You know what I
Leo's
mean?
pretty gorgeous. Leo is the golden tanned god that cannot be tamed, and I'm all for it. I'm pretty excited about Niflheim, so
Yeah.
I'll be grabbing that.
So, Smashy, I'll let you catch up and do those links. The next one is Shall We Date Love Tangle? That is out now. I think we have a mutual friend on Twitter that is playing it, and I like the CG she's been posting, so I might check that one out.
Is that a
It's available
Tomi-chan?
on Android.
Is that
Yes.
okay? That's what I thought. I
Yeah.
saw a couple of those. They are really good CGs.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that one. She seems like she's having a good time. Like she's playing a lot of it. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, the next one is okay, my dirty little secret. Shall we date Ninja Assassin? Spin-off stories of two of our mature characters, Kenshiro and Willem, are out now. They are limited time offered stories full of love, laughs, and Soji and other vigilante stars appear too. And I want to say on the advertisement for it, they were like, you can have a kid. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, like
Really?
let's, yeah. So check it out, Android and iTunes. Ninja Assassin is a very dirty secret of mine, but I like it. It has one of my favorite terrible lines from an Otome game. I think I texted you this picture, but it's like she was a slut and a drunk, but she was my friend. I love.
Actually, Ninja Assassin isn't a bad Tomy game. Like, I don't think that it's a bad guilty pleasure to have. It's definitely below par or below average, but it's fun. It's entertaining. I say that
Yeah,
I say that I think it's a heartening game. Like I can appreciate it for what it is. So,
yeah.
yeah. Definitely.
Next up, My Strange Lover by Genius is out for iOS. It has been out for Android apparently already. So now all of us Mac users can get our strange love on. Um, it seems like it's Monster Boys or something. So if you're into that, I didn't investigate it too much, but the pictures kind of look like they may be like a vampire and stuff like that. Um, I probably won't. I haven't. Have you played any games by Genius? I don't think I have.
I don't think I have. I mean, predominantly for mobile, it's always been Voltage or Shall We Date, and then of course
Yeah.
Automate. So I'll have to check out a couple of the Genius games. There's so many out there that it's hard to just pick one. So
Yeah. Um, so funny, good segue. Pizza, talking about voltage. My Wedding and Seven Rings has a holiday route added. Seven Kisses on a Holy Night is out now on Android and iTunes. So you can get that going on for you. I have no clue about these voltage games, so I can't even
I
help try and sell it.
for the title alone, Seven Kisses and a Holy Night. I feel like they're just trying to like pull from the 12 Days of Christmas. They're like, well, five golden rings is probably taken somewhere. Let's just do seven kisses on a holy night. I
Well,
kind of will check it out though. I would give it a shot. I like when they
well, the
come up
name of
with
the
titles.
game, it's like My Wedding and Seven Rings. Like, good grief. Like, how many rings do you need? Like, I don't know. I haven't played it.
Yeah.
So, but go have fun. Get those kisses on a holy night. And hey, that would be fun if you've made it this far in the podcast and you download any of these games and you get funny, text in the game or CGs, please tweet them at me. I live for that
Oh
shit. Like
man,
that's I
submit them to the CB Heroines Twitter. We will retweet them and
yeah,
laugh with you. Yes, we will.
yes.
Yes, we will. The other,
That those are like everything.
I literally, the folder that I have on my phone with the Toei CGs and just the funny liners. Oh, there's so many good ones.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
That if you ever need a reason to live, that that's that'll give you like plenty. Like they're just great. Um,
I'm
Go
trying to.
ahead.
No, I'm trying to think. No, I'm trying to think of good CGs and just funny text that I've seen recently. And I had one, and I can't remember it right now.
Well, the
Just
last game that we have is there's an update. It's another Voltage game. Kiss Me on Clover Hill has the final season of Faith Kazuto is out now on Android and iTunes. Um, so yeah, those are the ones that I could quickly find because I'm struggling and Christmas is next week and I haven't done Christmas shopping. So those are the ones I could find within 30 minutes. So
definitely. Also, if you guys do play line play, this was an exciting revelation, and this speaks volumes about Otome in general. Hakuoki is available in game. You can purchase outfits, wigs, and little stuffed animals of your favorite members of Hakuoki to put in your house in line play. And line play in and of itself is a hybrid of Animal Crossing meets Gaia Online, so to speak. So if you guys want to check that out, and let's say you're a diehard Hakuoki fan, and you want to decorate your entire house as a scene from Hakuoki with, maybe Soji or Saito or Toshi's everywhere, you guys have the opportunity to do that. And it's free. So go check it out.
yeah, I got the geisha outfit. I almost fell out of the chair. That's what happened.
Yay!
I just have to get the hair. So
Just keep saving up. You can log in and do those daily events to get those gems, and you'll be ready in no time. Or you can buy them, but that costs a lot of money. That is a complete money sink of a site if you can invest money into buying those gems. It's horrible, horrible, deadly cycle, but it's a lot of fun. I wholeheartedly encourage it. So I think that's
and
all.
we're both on there.
Yes.
So if you want a friend, I'm Sushi Geisha and she, let me point right, I think, or that way, is Pizza Man.
Yeah. Pizza
Go
made
figure.
sushi geisha. We should probably, you know what? If we could find enough people, we should set up a hangout in a game and have people come hang out with us. Whether it be Final Fantasy 14 or line play or some kind of like open world type of game where people can hang out with us. We'll do it one day. We'll make it happen. But I think that's about it for this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the Plum Wine Pajama Party. I know we did. Uh, Tons of other
Yes.
things happening on the horizon. As for next week is Christmas. I don't know if we'll have an episode. We will discuss and
No,
let you
probably
know.
not.
I kind of had a feeling that we wouldn't, because we would be seeing family and whatnot. But above all else, the greatest Christmas present that I think we received this year was this podcast, and also having you guys tuning in. So thank you so much for your support each and every week. If we are not on next week, we hope that you also have a wonderful holiday season with you and your loved ones. And we'll be back in action for the next episode, which I think, if I'm looking at it right, I think we can do. Oh no, that's New Year's Day. Oh, we'll see. Maybe we'll
I'll
do.
be here.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
we'll
say
see.
I don't mind doing a January 1st episode personally. So we shall see. But thank you guys again so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a follow or like, which is either right there right there. I don't remember which one. As well, you guys can check us out. I can never tell which one's the right one because I'm never looking at the dashboard. Additionally, you can also check us out on YouTube. That is where our VODs are, so you can always check out past episodes as well as this week's episode, and also check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. So thank you guys so much for joining us under the cherry blossom tree, and we'll see you all in 2 weeks. So good night.
Bye.